Class, we're looking at page 34. In case you were absent and missed our blood typing information, this is the important information that you need to know. First of all, you may have heard of blood typing before. You could pause the video to try and guess. What are the different blood types? Do you know what the different blood types are called? Take a second to think about that. The common blood groups are called A, B, and O. Okay, so most people know that they're either type A, B, or O. Some people can also be type AB because this is an example of a codominant trait. On a totally different chromosome, there is another thing that controls what blood type you are. We call this the Rh blood groups. And you might have something called the Rh factor. Okay? Now, all of these things we're going to look at. Let's go ahead and write down what the main blood types are. There's type A, type B, type AB, and there's blood type O. Now, a red blood cell is round, kind of flat, like a donut, but the hole doesn't go all the way through. I'm just going to draw kind of a round circle here, and this is going to represent a red blood cell. Now, our red blood cells zoom around in our circulatory system. Our circulatory system also has white blood cells that zoom around in it. And when the white blood cells zoom around, they check to make sure that everything that's in your blood and in your body is supposed to be there. If it finds a virus or a bacteria that's foreign, it will try to kill it. The white blood cells will. So, because the red blood cells mix with the white blood cells, these guys often will have a little bit of identification on them to prove that they're part of your body and that your white blood cells should not attack them. In this case, if you are type A, you have a special protein on the surface of your cell that acts kind of like an ID card. Just like if you have a California driver's license, you're allowed to drive in California. So, in this case, we've got these triangle shapes. The triangle shape in real life is a very complex shape of amino acids that is embedded into the cell membrane. And it's used so that when the white blood cells bump into them, they know, oh, this is my body, I shouldn't try to attack it. It's not a bacteria, it's not a virus. But I chose a triangle instead of a complex amino acid shape because A is shaped like a triangle, so that'll help you remember type A we're representing with triangles. If you're blood type B, the shape on your cells looks a little bit different. It looks like a rounded shape. In real life, it's not a rounded shape, but I'm choosing rounded shape because the letter B is like a rounded shape. I mentioned that this is a codominant trait, so you might know then that if it's codominant, then both shapes are expressed on your blood. Okay, so this is what a codominant blood type AB looks like. And then there's blood type O. Now, blood type O does not have any of those shapes on it. It may have some other shapes that identify it, but not anything that's different from normal blood that everybody else has. So it just turns out that type A, B, AB have a special shape that is very specific to them. Oh, sorry, my cat is walking through. Now, hold on, let's move my cat. Here you go. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, now here's the thing. Here's the deal. If you are injured and you lose a lot of blood and you need to have a blood transfusion, we need to make sure we give you the right type of blood. Because if your body recognizes California driver's licenses, which will represent the triangle, and you have a European driver's license from, let's say, Italy, your Italian driver's license doesn't fly in California, okay? You're not allowed to use it. You have to apply for a California driver's license if you're going to stay living here. So, just like you need to have the right kind of license to drive in a certain place, you are not allowed to drive through the circulatory system with this kind of blood cell because it doesn't match your body. So it doesn't recognize you as being part of the body. So, if you were to do a blood transfusion and put type B's blood into person A's body, then person A would make something called an antibody. They would make something called antibody B. And antibody B, its job is to grab and collect and clot together any foreign diseases or something that enter the body. Could be a bacteria or a virus, but in this case, it's a blood cell you would want, except it's not recognized by the body, so you can't use it. Now, this works the same way if you switch the situation. If you have blood type B and you accidentally get injured and you need a blood transfusion, and we put type A blood into B's body, then person B will make anti-A. These are little grabbers. Think of these like handcuffs, and they can grab 3 different cells. So this triangle piece fits onto this triangle, and it would take 3 of these cells. You could fit 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and it's going to form a clot. You might know that if you have a blood clot, that is a very bad situation. It can lead to a heart attack or a stroke. I'm going to write the word anti-B right here. And I'm going to add the word anti-A right here. Okay? So, you can't give person A B's blood, you can't give person B A's blood. But what if you're type AB? If you're type AB, it means you have your California driver's license and your Italian driver's license. So you can drive in California or Italy. So, if you take some of this foreign blood from A and put it over here, it's okay because they have triangles, you have triangles. This type of person, they recognize both triangles and bumps. So they actually don't make antibodies against blood type A or B. They don't make anti-A or anti-B. And lastly, let's look at blood type O. If you're blood type O, then you don't have any proteins on your blood. So that means if you were to give A blood to this person's body, their body would be like, oh no, that's not good. I don't recognize the triangles, so I'm going to use my immune system to make some anti-A. By the way, we haven't studied the immune system yet, but your white blood cells, there are some of them called B cells, and they turn into plasma cells and can make these antibodies. Anti-A. If you put type B's blood into their body, this person also doesn't recognize the bump shape. So they will also make the B grabbers called anti-B or antibody B. So I want you guys to think about, you should pause the video at this point to try and answer these 2 questions. You can watch me do the first one as an example and then maybe pause and try to answer it on your own so you can practice thinking. If you're type A, you can give blood to what blood types? Okay, so if you're A, who could you give blood to? Well, if you're A, you could give it to other A people, obviously. And the next, to figure out the answer, think about who else has this shape. So you can't give it to B, you can't give it to O, but person AB also can recognize that. So you can give it to person AB. Okay? Now, over here, go ahead and pause the video, try to fill these out on your own, then double check your work in a second. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Your answer should have been that you can give it to yourself or type AB because they have the bumps. You could give this to AB because it's like yourself, or if you put this person's blood here, the triangles will trigger the immune system. If you put this blood in here, then the bumps will trigger this person's immune system. So you can't give to them. You definitely can't give to type O because they make anti-A and anti-B. So they only can give blood to other people like them. What about type O? Type O has nothing that these grabbers can grab onto. So if you put O into this person, or this person's body, it doesn't matter that these guys have antibodies because it can't grab anything. Okay? So type O can give to other O's, but also to AB, also to A, and also to B. Let's go ahead and try this one too. I'll do the first one and then you pause the video. Who could type A receive blood from? You definitely could receive blood from other A people if you're type A. Who else could you get blood from? It has to be somebody who doesn't have bumps. Okay? So we can't get from B because that'll trigger the immune system. And we can't get from AB because that'll trigger your immune system. So you can take from blood type O. Go ahead and pause the video, try to do the rest on your own, and then check your work. Ready for the answers? Here we go. So, you could also receive from B if you're B. You could also receive from O because it doesn't have any triangles on it. If you're blood type AB, you could get from yourself, other people like you, AB. You could get O, of course, but you could also get from A because they recognize triangles as being fine, and you could get from B because they recognize bumps as being fine. So, oops, sorry. I already wrote that one. There we go. And lastly, who can you receive blood from if you're type O? Well, if you're type O, you don't like bumps and you don't like triangles. So you cannot get from anyone except type O. Because type AB can receive from everybody, we call this person the universal receiver. And because this person can give blood to anybody, we call them, person O is the universal donor. You can donate blood at a blood bank every 3 to 4 months, okay, about 3 times a year. And if you are type O, they will call you every 4 months and say, hey, would you mind coming in and donating blood again? Because blood type O is the universal donor. Now, I forgot to mention, there's RH. RH is the thing that tells you if your blood type is positive or negative. So you might have heard people say like, oh, my blood type is A positive or A negative. So I would like you guys now to add a dotted line down the middle, because on a separate chromosome, there's another gene that codes for a different protein that you might have a gene for or you might not have it. It's a dominant trait if you have it. And I'm going to use plus signs to represent the RH factor because the tradition is to call it RH positive. So if you have RH on your blood, you are said to be RH positive. And if you do not have RH on your blood, you are said to be RH negative. Now, notice that I'm adding little plus signs to represent this, and I'm using a different color to represent that it's on a different chromosome. So, if we were to look at this,